of being trained, So they went to, if it's the college, we're on campus learning, if it's the university, we're on campus learning. Out of that, we had 1,383 of those who went through the regular module failing. Now, when it comes to distance, so those who are in the home and they go for weekend classes, we had 777 of them passing and had 4,287 of those failing the exams. Those who went through the sandwich module, we had 131 of them passing with 664 of them failing. For online, we had 12 of them passing and 11 of them failing. So that's how the performance had been by mode of training. So regular, distance, sandwich, and online. That has been it. Now, to help us understand the trend and possible solution to this challenge, we have been joined on Zoom by Divine Pe, who is Senior Programs Officer, Africa Education Watch, and he is an education specialist and program evaluator with a bachelor's degree in IT education and a master's degree in educational measurement and evaluation. Right person for us to speak to. Grateful to you for joining us here. What do you make of the setting of up of this committee? So the education minister is setting up this committee to look into these failures. What do you make of it?
All right, thank you, and sorry. Good afternoon to your viewers. For me, it is a welcome news as it reflects generally the call made by Ghanaians when this issue came up. We know that Council for PTA has also called for setting up a committee to investigate. Teacher unions have also made similar call. CSO, those in the academia, and then also those of you in the media have made the call for an investigation. So for me, I think it is the right step taken by the Ministry of Education to actually investigate, because there are a lot of questions that needs to be answered as far as the potential teachers' failure of the examination is concerned, especially when they are resitting for a number of time, and some of them, we understand, have actually sat for it for about 9 times and have failed. I think generally there are a number of questions that need to be answered. For instance, we need to understand the quality of teachers or potential those seeking admission to the colleges. What sort of qualification are they coming with? And then also, how did they pass their examination, given the level of difficulty, the questions we have seen? For me, I think anybody that has passed his college level or they're struggling to pass the licensure examination, then we need to understand also how they were able to pass their school level examination. And then also there are theories like probably there's something happening at the end of the NTC when it comes to marking of the scripts. There are theories that probably there may be miskeying such that students that may have been passing are also being failed. So we need to understand whether the committee also needs to come to a conclusion on the instances of such happening when it comes to marking of the script. And then also we need to come to the point to understand that or we need to consider reintroduction of a capping system so that you write for a particular number of time. And then I think these are some of the questions that we need answers for as far as the committee to work is
on strategies or keys, or as you say, objectives or target. But having looked at how the teachers, how they were trained and how they are failing. I mean, we know the numbers that went through the regular mode and how they were failing, those who went through distance, those who went to sandwich and online. What would be your recommendation to the committee as to how they can get the best out of this particular exercise they are to embark?
The areas that are previous quality of teachers, that's those seeking admission into the colleges and universities to become teachers, the quality of entry. And then also we need to look at what the sort of training it is. And we also need to pay attention to the sort of or the mode of receiving their training, because if you look at it, the failure rate is so high among those or the mode of receiving their training, because if you look at it, the failure rate is so high among those.
Government has had this lip service of diversification, but it's never happened until the arrival of the Kufuor government. And under this government, we launched the Planting for Food and Jobs, the 5 modules by the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, in various parts of this country. The component which I am talking about today is what the Planting for Export and Rural Development, which I piloted through the ministry's own personnel to come up with a document for submission to the Cabinet of the Republic and sent on to the Parliament of Ghana, and in September 2019 was approved as an act. The Parliament passed an Act 1010 in 2019 for the the creation of this authority. I want to remind you that since 1947, with the creation of Ghana Cocoa Board, there has not been one single commodity institution created since then. And one would be wondering why. Because you have crops with today, the value is much higher than cocoa. And yet we are stuck with cocoa, with the potential of other tree crops. So the idea about the Tree Crop Development Authority is to shepherd these 6 potential crops: cashew, shea, mango, coconut, oil palm, and rubber, to be able, each of them, to develop and earn Ghana as much as cocoa is earning Ghana today. At the moment, Ghana is earning about $1.5 billion from cocoa. These other crops have the potential to earn Ghana even more, $2-3 billion. And we have to go to Cote d'Ivoire to see exactly what I mean by that. So, having created the authority in Parliament, the President of the Republic in August 2020 inaugurated the board and the management of this Tree Crop Development Authority in Kumasi, where it's headquartered. And the feasibility study, which was submitted through Parliament, was that it needed a seed fund of only $50 million for the first 3 years. Just $5 million each year for the first 3 years, and that was it. It will be able to borrow on its own profitability and so on, and would not be part of the budget of the Republic of Ghana. Just like Cocoa Board operations do not come into the budget, they will be able to go to the bank to raise their monies, whether locally or overseas, or a combination of the two. So this authority was created. Now, to get it off the ground for this is the 3rd year of the operation. You ask me how much money has been disbursed to the authority. By now, we should have the government should have disbursed $15 million. But as we speak, it's only $3 million. And means that the vision of contributing to the future of the economy of this country was being held back. So I entered into discussions with Mr. Pierre Laporte, who is the country representative of the World Bank, and submitted the project and all its aspects to that organization. And they saw that there's something to be said, in fact, for supporting the Tree Crop Development Authority. So they took it up, and we have gone through the system. Of course, by the time the approval came this month, I had left the organization. But I'm so pleased to see that vision is now very, very feasible, because it has the potential of earning this country anything up to $12 billion after 6-7 years of implementation. And you only have to go across the border to Cote d'Ivoire to see what is happening. The same 5 crops are giving Cote d'Ivoire $7-8 billion every year, whilst the 5 crops, including cocoa in Ghana, is earning less than $2 billion. So the potential is huge for this organization to contribute to financing our development. For the last since independence. We've been to the IMF 17 times. This is the 17th time that we are just coming out of the negotiations and approval systems. And it's very simple. We've been financing our development through debt, borrowing locally and externally to support our development. And in spite of the fact that we are paying interest and the capital that we borrow, we are not generating enough revenue from these borrowings to be able to service the debt and also pay back the principals. And hence, every 3-4 years, we fall down. We fall down because we go back to the borrowing market, to the debt markets, borrow Eurobond, bilateral, local, treasury bills, and so on to develop. And no country can develop with that kind of strategy. So if it hasn't been working, financing our development with debt, then we have to look inside to see what resources we can generate. And of course, those resources are with debt. Then we have to look inside to see what resources we can generate. And of course, those resources are
irrigation facilities. And they are all pushing that if we should adopt improved seed system, then we need to improve on irrigation infrastructure. Most of the improved seeds that we are using, and those seeds are not part of the seeds that government has subsidized. Those seeds that government subsidized are the OPVs and some few hybrid seeds. And those seeds, farmers, the demand for them from farmers is less.
Okay.
Most of the farmers are buying the quality improved seeds that are imported. So if you actually want farmers to adopt improved seeds or want to improve supply of improved seeds in the country, what we need to do is to create enabling infrastructure for seed growers to be able to grow. And irrigation is one of the key infrastructure that we need to be able to produce quality improved seeds. So to me, I don't disagree with him. I don't agree with him, and I don't think there's any farmer who support this analogy that he's making.
With the irrigation system that we do have in place now, how are their utilization like? Are we putting them to good use, or just like we do? And in the past, we've had irrigation systems that have really gone bad because we didn't manage them well. Currently, with the ones that we have, how are they now?
Yeah, so to buttress my point, if you look at the areas where we have high yields, farmers are recording profitability in their production. With the irrigation, the few irrigation facilities that we have, you can talk of the pump irrigation scheme. Go there and see the farmers who are producing rice and other vegetables, both rainy season and dry season. Go to tunnel irrigation areas. That is where we are getting most of our seeds to supply to other farmers. We do a lot of rice season there. Go to K2, the irrigation project there, the same thing. So all the few irrigation areas that we have in Ghana are where we are getting good yields from. Now, the same government has introduced economic enclave project. And when you go there, the president just launched that project last month. You go to those areas, they are creating different types of irrigation, they are creating canals and other things to ensure that there is available water for farmers who want to actually go there to expand their production to do. So if government, the same government is doing this, and then a former minister of agriculture who...
Unfortunate situation there. Well, so we're speaking to Dr. Charles Nyaba, who is Executive Director for Peas and Farmers Association. Yeah, Doc, your line is okay now. You're making a point about the former minister who is going contrary to what the government is doing.
Yeah, I said recently, the government is investing hugely on the construction of this economic enclave project, where they are creating irrigation. They are actually tapping water from the rivers and then creating canals for farmers to be able to produce. So if government is investing like this, and a former immediate class agric minister is now coming to downplay importance of irrigation and comparing that to hybrid seeds.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like choosing Derek Jeter as the pinch hitter for your baseball team.
Jeter, you're in. We need a home run.
I'll give it a try. I've swung a bat once or twice.
That's out of here.
Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
That was granted, and so we are back to this court on Friday for the continuation. But what is important is that we are repeating the application at the Court of Appeal because we are dissatisfied.
Deputy Attorney General Alfred Chiayabua smiles vindication.
This is a court of law. It's not a court of political gimmicks or razzmatazz. It's for us to speak law and talk law in court. We talk law, we spoke law, and we are vindicated. It's going to continue as ordered by the court on Friday. And Friday, our witness will be in court to continue with the cross-examination. It's within their right to do so, but their filing does not automatically stay proceedings of the trial court. If they file, we will respond accordingly. But to us, we are dealing with law. We are not dealing with sentiments. We are not dealing with politics in court. Politics belongs to political platforms. Law belongs to the courts. And we are here in court to talk law and not politics.
Some of the minority MPs have been speaking to Joy News.
Terribly disappointed. I was just telling someone that elsewhere, the charge sheet would have probably read the people versus Jackie Kwesen. And the question that would have run through anybody's mind is, where are the people? On whose side are the people? Because this whole prosecution, a criminal case, is to be done in the name and on behalf of the people, especially the people of Asin North. If you are prosecuting a person like Jackie Kwesen on the reasons that you are prosecuting him, it is probably because you think that he has perpetrated something against the people of Asin North. They have spoken. They say that's how they want it. So if you are doing a prosecution in the name of the people, it must be seen, like they say, to actually be in the name of the people. This trial is not in the name of the people.
On Friday, the criminal trial is expected to continue.
From the court complex, my name is Richard Kwejenya for Joy News.
Now, the Ghana Health Service says it is committed to providing sustainable health service and care for people. Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumabwaji, reviewed that expertise is required to surmount challenges on health promotion. He was speaking at the launch of the National Interagency Coordination Committee for Health Promotion. There is more in this report by Jacqueline Ansoma Yeboah.
To coordinate public education geared towards improving the well-being of the people in the country, the Ghana Health Service has established a National Interagency Coordinating Committee for Health Promotion in Ghana. Explaining why there is a need for such a committee, Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumabwaji, said there is a tremendous increase in non-communicable diseases which necessitate the sharing of knowledge from various stakeholders to deal with the problems.
We are facing a more Herculean task now. The emergence and the rapid increase in non-communicable diseases is a major problem. This requires not just resources but also major behavior change. We know from their diverse background they can help us in navigating all the challenges across so that we can improve the health of this country. We saw how COVID affected every sector of this country, and that's the way we want to ensure that we also tackle it in all society and all groups. And that's why we have this more diverse group helping us to promote health in the country.
He revealed that supervisory assessments will be done to ensure the effectiveness of the committee.
Apart from what they themselves will do, we always have assessment done from DA. Coverages will help us to see whether the change in behavior is taking place. And if
for Health Promotion in Ghana, Professor L.C. Ifakofman, says the committee will ensure that health-related issues are duly promoted and coordinated.
We have subcommittees, and then we have all kinds of plans and activities that we'll be drawing up to be able to do that. So you'll see us promoting health. You'll see us trying to get the public sector to be interested in what government is doing. It's a partnership. And so you'll see us trying to encourage people to live a much more healthy life and organizing various groups across the country to do this the same. it's a coordinating committee. So we are coordinating all the efforts. So there's a lot that is already happening. But you'll see that many of the times that you have these promotion programs going on, there is no coordination. Everybody is doing what they like. It's our job really to come up with a strategy to harmonize all of the various activities that are going on so that we can use the synergies to do much, much better than what has been happening. So you'll see the old programs going on, you'll see new programs coming up, and the idea is that all of them should be able to fit into a general strategy that we have for promoting health in the country.
The National Interagency Coordinating Committee for Health Promotion in Ghana is tasked to ensure improved communication, cooperation, and collaboration that will harness and coordinate advisory resources of key stakeholders to improve well-being whilst being advocates for health promotion. For Joy News, Jacqueline Ansuma Yeboah.
Let's take you to Kumasi now, where winners of the maiden edition of the Love FM High School debate, T.I. Amas, Kumasi, are closer to annexing their second title after winning their contest against Presec Bompata to qualify for the final stage of the competition. After a masterful performance on the motion court, chiefs must be blamed solely for illegal mining in Ghana, unquote. T.I. Amas becomes the first school to qualify to the final contest. The Phobians garnered 254 points as they aimed at ending their trophyless drought in the debate competition after winning their first and last title in 2018. Anabuachi Yadom reports from Kumasi.
So after 5 years of an unsuccessful journey to the finals, T.I. Amadia becomes the first senior high school to qualify to the final stage of the Love FM High School debate after an amazing and a masterful performance today against Presec Bompata. I have the principal speaker Onassis here with me, and I'll ask him what we have to expect from them as they proceed to the final stage of the contest. Onassis, congratulations to you once again. You are going to the final stage. How do you feel proceeding to the final stage of the contest?
Oh, I feel very good. In fact, I feel satisfied at this point because it was more or less a sleepless night, relentless effort. And I would like to thank God and my team for my win. I would thank the administration, from my headmaster to the teaching staff. Then my patrons, in fact, I had sleepless nights with these guys. CC, Sir Richie, Alan Oba. In fact, this man literally sponsored us 200 cities worth of food a day. Dude, it hasn't been easy. So, in fact.
Okay, so going forward to the final stage, what are we to expect from you as the principal speaker and your school in general? Hits! Alright, so I have the patron for T.I. Amadia here with me. Sir, the last time I spoke to you, you were so optimistic of victory today against Presec Bompata. Are you sure that as you proceed to the finals, you can clinch the ultimate?
T.I. Amadia Senior High School is a winning school, with a winning culture. We are all about winning big competitions and big trophies. So it's natural that we are in the final. Since we are in the final, the only thing that we deserve is to win the trophy and bring it back home. But that's what we're all about. It's about winning trophies. And this year is not going to be any different. It's time we reclaim that trophy, and that is what we are doing this year.
All right, so T.I. Amadia Senior High School, they are aiming the ultimate prize at the final stage of the Love FM High School debate come Friday. Today, they become the first senior high school to proceed to the final stage. T.I. Amadia, after an unsuccessful journey, they are aiming to win the 5th edition of the Love FM High School debate. For Joy News, my name is Anabuachi Yadom.
An exciting final that will promise to be. So if you're in Kumasi, just make your way to the venue and witness how this final will go down. But to wrap it all up, the start of the Fourth Republic brought about a renewed sense of hope and aspiration for Ghanaians in their quest for a rapid socio-economic development and a robust democratic dispensation. Have we achieved these 3 decades down the journey? In a collaborative effort to inspire change, an amalgam of professional associations in Ghana presents a public lecture for a transformative quote. Speaker is Yao Nsako. Panelists will include Professor Noel Tego Akosia and David Ofosu Dorte. It is happening at the British Council on 25th July 2023 at 6:30 p.m. It will be live streamed on social media platforms as well. Get ready to be inspired by that particular lecture. Wherever you be, do make your date and make your way to the venue so you can listen to this insightful discussion that will be happening there. And that's how we wrap up the edition of the Pulse here on the Joy News channel. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. My name is Samuel Kojo. On behalf of the team, thank you for keeping us company. We'll leave you in the hands of the LTS team. Have a great day.
Smile, Look lively, okay? Smile, smile.